And so, with that, let me ask, as we will get started, as we do in woe safe fashion, um, by being grounded in our spiritual practices. So, I will ask if anyone would please pray us in to Black Knowledge Matters this week.
Blessings abound, family. All hearts on one accord. Divine, omnipotent, omniscient, omniglorious, wondrous, creator, Mut, Amin Ra. We are so blessed and abundantly blessed. Our hearts leap with joy at the partaking in this fellowship that grounds us on a righteous path, full of light. And our light that is within us puts the unrighteousness asunder. And we are those who understand that there are those who are suffering, who are crying out, who are in wars, because we understand that we are fighting a war. And we say this not with any kind of haughtiness, but with the understanding that Ma'at blesses us to be grounded in the whole armor of righteousness, that we do all that we can to stand against that which is unrighteous. And having done all to stand, we stand. Oh, we're blessed this evening as this God man comes forth to share with us that we might be ever more enlightened. And we give thanks, and we will leave better than when we came. Ashe.
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 Yeah.
Ashe. Asante Sana,
Ashe.
Mama Zarita, as always. Well, we are back at it, brothers and sisters, and we are back at it with Brother Damani. 2 weeks ago, we were blessed with his discussion on an exploration of the Shabaka stone and the roaring waters, the waves of none. Today, Brother Damani is going to continue helping to educate us and point us towards the knowledge that we all need to partake in by bringing in a discussion on our creation story is the grand unified theory. And with that, I hand it over respectfully to our brother Damani.
Okay. Hey. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Greetings.
Thank you all for showing up. Coming to the presentation. This presentation is going to be going to sound very scientific, and it's nowhere around that. No way around that, because Shabaka stone is a scientific treaty on how the universe came into existence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nowhere around that. Anyway, let me see. I got a lot of information. I'm gonna skip over a lot of the slides I went over last month, but I got four short videos, totaling 20 minutes. And we might don't get to the fourth one. It's 10 minutes long, but we got three short videos, 2 minutes. One is 6 minutes, 51 seconds, and one is 3 minutes. I give a quick synopsis about what I went over last March 11 on the part one. Part one was the Shabaka stone. I showed a video of Dr. Gabriel Oyube. He is a doctor's in physics and mathematics. He was three times selected for the Nobel Prize in physics and mathematics, and he went over the grand unified theory, and he went over the three creation stories, and he found the common denominator in these three stories. And the three creation stories was somebody thumbs keep going up. Anyway, the three creation stories was number one was the holy book account that the of the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran. All of them have an account of God spoke the word, and everything came into creation by the word, right? And that word, I want you to remember the wave. The common denominator was a wave. The second theory was the Big Bang theory. And once again, you got boom, you got a big wave. And the third and the most littlest known creation story is our African creation story, which is the roaring waterways of Nun. And I'm gonna get into that, and that'd be explained during the presentation. The roaring waterways of Nun, and that's the foundational setting for our creation story. And what motivated me to do this was hold, let me back up. Dr. Yibo, he found the common denominator was waves. All three of them was waves. So, and so they found out that the all modern scientific inquiry was dealing with the Shabaka stone was dealing with the quantum theory. They found out that the waters of Nun was the grand unified field theory because everything existed in the Nun. I'm going to explain that as I go on the presentation for those that don't know what I'm talking about. In the Nun, everything existed in the Nun, all matter. There's four types of matter. You have liquid, you have gas, and you have solids. And you have a fourth state of matter is plasma. Plasma is positive ions. Ions is electrical charges. So let me see where I lost my train of thought here. And so he went on to show how the hydrogen atom out of the roaring waterways of Nun was shooting atum, ATUM. And ATUM everywhere in Stolen Legacy, in the book Stolen Legacy by Dr. George G.M. James. Where is it? But anyway, chapter 8, he deals with men fight theology. And then the table of contents, Dr. Kaba, the table of contents of the Shabaka stone, Dr. Kaba pays homage to the works of Dr. George G.M. James in Stolen Legacy. And a lot of his information also comes from chapter 8 on men fight theology, which was called Men Nefer. Also, Sheikh Antioch in chapter 17, he got Does an African Philosophy Exist? And this book is called The Civilization of Barbarism. And Sheikh Antioch in chapter 18, he talks about does an African philosophy exist? And he went over all the stuff that Dr. Kaba goes over in his book. And so that's about it. And so real fast, to catch people up who weren't here last week. So the atom, everywhere in Stolen Legacy, where they got the word ATUM, they have in parentheses ATOM. ATOM is the atom, right? And so what Dr. Yibo figured out that there was only one atom. It's called the hydrogen atom on this periodic table of elements right here. There's only one atom. All the other elements is a multiple of atoms. Hydrogen got one proton, one neutron, and what's circling around that is an electron. You go on to the next one, you got helium. Helium got 2 electrons, 2 protons, 2 neutrons. You go on to lithium. Lithium got 3, 3, 3, all the way to nitrogen, number 7 on the periodic table of. They got 7 protons, 7 neutrons, and 7 electrons. Oxygen 888, all the way to what you got? Aluminum number 13, 13, 13, 13, all the way to gold. Gold got 79, 79, 79. So all these can be broken down into hydrogen atoms. And he also showed how all the sciences are related. I got one slide at the end. I don't know if I got time to get to that. But anyway, all the sciences are related. For example, you have biology. Biology is the study of cells, right? If you're studying cells, you're studying, the electron, the proton, neutron. Quantum, let me back up. Quantum physics, quantum mechanics is the study of subatomic particles, right? The electron, the proton, the neutron. Um, that's quantum mechanics. Most of our modern electronic. Well, I'm gonna get into that in my presentation. Let me move on. But anyway, biology is the study of cells. If you're studying cells as a substrate of chemistry, he broke the word chemistry down into two words. Chem means the black land. Mystery means the mystery of what they did with the atom, or how they knew about the atom back then. You got chemistry. The word chemistry comes from the word chemet. It comes from the word chemet. Okay, and so you have I lost my train of thought again.
We're talking about how all the
Biology,
sciences
right.
are
So
connected.
then after biology, you got psychology. Psychology, we're studying the behavior of biosystems. Here's the word bio. So in psychology, you're studying the word biosystems. So once again, you're studying the cells, you're studying elements and molecules, you're studying atoms. It's another substrate of chemistry. You go on to sociology. Sociology, you're studying the the interaction of biosystems. Sociology, you're studying interaction of biosystems. Once again, you know where I'm going with it. You're studying is a substrate of chemistry. You go into history. He points out history is the study of events of bio and non-bio systems. Once again, you got the word bio, so you're studying elements, compounds, molecules, another substrate of chemistry. So he tied all that stuff together, and he come up with a formula called Gaga. Gaga is grand unified, is a God Almighty grand unified theory. And it's a theorem, it's not a theory. We might have time to get into it. I'm still trying to figure out. But Dr. Kaba will explain it in that 10-minute video. He will talk about it. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen now. Let me hit the share button and hit my slide sorter. If I remember how to do this, Bill. And so, Bill, you said once again I hit can y'all see my presentation?
Yes.
Oh, y'all do? Okay, I didn't think. Okay, the Shabaka stone. Okay, so we're dealing with the Shabaka stone, Dr. Kaba's Kabe Kameni's great work. Okay, Bill, can you show that first 3-minute video talking about? Well, let me go to slide 2,
Okay.
and then you can show the.
Or you
After
can
slide
press
2, you can show
slideshow and it will go to your slides only. And then you can use, if you press slideshow at the very top, yes, there, F5, yes.
Okay.
Then you can hit page up or page down or use your arrows to go forward and back. Yes, just like that, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, the Shabaka stone, for those who weren't here last week, is a scientific treaty of the coming into being of the universe dating back to 710 BC. During the reign of Nasbeti Shabaka of the 25th dynasty. The stone preserves the Menphite theology, a Mennefer, of ancient Kemet, creation story. Shabaka had his scientists and scribes rewrite the worm-eaten papyrus onto a black basalt stone to preserve it for eternity. It now sits in the British Museum. The roaring waterways of Nun is the foundational setting of this our creation story. And so, Bill, you can get show. I'm gonna stop sharing, right?
Okay.
And you can show that 3-minute video.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Where the sun is hot.
The Shabaka stone, Africa's philosophy of creation. Before Plato, before Aristotle, before in the beginning was the word, ever appeared in Greek or Latin. There was the Shabaka stone, carved in black granite during the reign of Pharaoh Shabaka of the 25th dynasty. This stone preserves what Egyptian priests claimed was an even older sacred text, copied from a decaying papyrus so its wisdom would not be lost. What's recorded on it is known today as the Memphite theology, and it may be one of the earliest surviving philosophical explanations of how reality itself comes into being. According to this teaching, the universe was not created through violence, chaos, or brute force. It was created through mind and speech. At the center is the god Ptah, described not as a warrior or sky ruler, but as a divine intellect. Creation begins in Ptah's thought, known as Sia, conscious awareness, the blueprint of existence. Then comes Hu, the spoken word. Through speech, what is conceived in the mind is brought into form. In other words, thought precedes matter. Word gives it shape. This is not myth in the simple sense. It is philosophy, it is metaphysics. Long before Greece formalized the concept of logos, African priests were teaching that reality itself is structured by intelligence, vibration, and order. Every god, every force of nature, every principle of life was understood as an expression of this single creative mind. The Shabaka stone matters because it shows us something rarely acknowledged, that ancient African civilizations were not only builders of monuments, but builders of ideas, ideas about consciousness, creation, and the power of language, ideas that would later echo through Hermetic thought, Neoplatonism, and even Christian theology. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that knowledge is fragile. Texts decay, memories fade, but sometimes wisdom survives, carved in stone, waiting to be read again. This is the Shabaka stone, not just a relic, but a reminder of where human philosophy truly begins.
Damani?
Okay, I'm trying to, okay. All right, I'm back on my presentation. Let me go to, can y'all see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to go to the next slide. Let me just, okay, this is a quote. Trying to pull down my bottom of my screen. There it go. Oh, there it go. Okay, this is a quote from Spirituality Before Religion and the introduction of Dr. Kaba's book, after he pays homage to Dr. Sheikh Antioch, Dr. John Henry Clark, Esther Hillard, Elise McIntyre, and others. And before he gets into his teaching of the spirituality for religion, he reads this. This quote is in his book. He said, "Invoking permission. Now we evoke permission from our Creator and ancestors to escort us back to the waters of none, a time before time existed, existence before existence existed, an eternal place before the beginning began. This place is called the none, the eternal waters, where our creators and ancestors were, are, and will always be, a place we will return to one day. All praise due to our Creator and of all, and our ancestors who watch over all in this cosmic reality." Okay, right here, this is the Hypostyle Hall and the pillars of the Hypostyle Hall and at the Karnak Temple, which we know as Ipit Asut. Ipit Asut is the most holy of places, right? There's 134 of these columns representing papyrus reeds in the waters of Nun. Okay, and let me back up on that video you just watched by Bill. You heard the word Sia. For those of us who go to Wozay, you heard the word Sia, exceptional insight, and you heard the word Hu, authoritative utterance. That's our holy book, Sia. authoritative utterance, and exceptional insight. So he mentioned that in that 3-minute video. I don't know if y'all caught it. Okay, first thing that motivated me, I'm not going to read this whole thing. The first thing that motivated me to do this presentation is when I learned that the roaring waterways of none, our creation story, was the basis of quantum mechanics and modern scientific inquiry. And at the bottom it says, today you got modern science. You got smartphones, cells, solar panels, lasers, drone technology, MRI machines, motion detectors, etc. All require quantum physics or mechanics, right? That's the first thing that motivated me. Another motivating factor to do this Black Knowledge presentation is when I learned that our creation story, Memphite theology, is the grand unified field theory connecting the outer and inner worlds, a theory that evaded Einstein up to his death. GUFT stands for Grand Unified Field Theory, unites the 4 force fields. Real fast, the 4 force fields, I'm still trying to understand how they work, but you're dealing with gravity, electromagnetism, you're dealing with strong and weak nuclear forces. So when you have weak nuclear forces, like you got cheap jewelry and it started to fade. That's because of the weak nuclear forces. Now, and Dr. Gabriel Yubo figured it out, which he's from Nigeria, physics. But, he figured it out. And, I'm going to go on to the next one. And what he did from the law of relativity of skin out and quantum mechanics perspective, skin in. Skin out, we're dealing with the outer world. That's Newton's dealing with the 3 laws of motion by Isaac Newton. The planets. Our ancestors noticed that all the planets and constellations rotated around the sun, right? And on the inside of our body, we have electrons. And electrons, they rotate around the cells. They all the electrons move around the cells, right? And so the inside, study of the inside is the study of the outside. Study of the inner world is study of the outer world. Anyway, moving on. This is Dr. S.J. Hillett's statement. This is master key number 9 for understanding Kim. And I went over this last week, but it's so important, I'm going to go over it again. Science generated religion, philosophy, and general culture. Okay, now Bill is going to show 2 in a row. He's going to show 2 videos in a row. And the first one's a minute 55 seconds. It's Dr. Hillett explaining this. Dr. Hillett was a master teacher, yo. He's explaining this this 9th key. And then Dr. Kaba will be on for the next. He was explaining a little bit about the Shabaka stone. He was explaining philosophy number 2 in the Shabaka stone. Shabaka stone have 3 philosophies. Okay. Hey, Bill, I'm going to stop showing. You can show that.
Okay.
First, show both of them. Show both of the videos.
Okay.
It's about 10 minutes long, yo. Not even quite 10 minutes.
Okay, the last, not the last, but the 9th master key. Science generated religion, philosophy, and general culture. In other words, it's really important in looking at ancient Kemet to know that the basis of the culture was totally scientific. In other words, painful observations, tireless observations over literally thousands of years produce insights into how nature works. And it's nature's pattern that reflects a divine will, according to the Kemites. And so when they expressed religion, what they were trying to do was to capture the essence of what they had understood through revelation from scientific study. And so it's extremely important to realize that it was through the work of science that people became spiritual. We have it almost backwards in Western culture from this particular point of view. In other words, we receive, in many cases, religion without having to do anything for it. We don't have to study anything other than catechism, so to speak. But with the exception of a very few religions, few seem to have an idea that study of the natural world is in fact also associated with study of the spiritual world, and that one depends upon the other, or both depend upon each other, if you would put it that way. So that's a very important point.
Okay, Master Key.
And here's the next.
Yeah, Bill gonna go straight into the next video.
Okay. And just a second. There.
Everything that is written, carved on the Shabaka stone is what we teach in our science classes today. What is important is how encompassing this story is on the Shabaka stone. And as we move through this process, we look at the second philosophy, which is the essences of pre-existing order and arrangement, where the Shabaka stone and our ancestors spoke about the early formers of all of the molecules and all of the atoms coming into existence. The Nun, Nunet, the Ha, the Hahet, the Kak, Kaket, and the Amun and Amunet. In other words, they talked about the Nun being matter, the Nunet being space, the Ha being infinity, and the Hahet is finity. The Kak is the darkness, Kaket is the light. The Amen is the hidden, and the Amenet is the revealed. The male and the female entities. What's important is that our ancestors understood you cannot have a male without a female. So there was never a conception of a male-only God. And as we travel throughout Africa and look at the many, many thousands of nations that reside in Africa, the common theme is that all things come into being by the coming together of the male and the female. And it brings forward life. And the third philosophy dealt with the essences of order and arrangement. Shu and Tefnut. Shu is the male and it is air. Tefnut is female and moisture. Air and moisture. This is science. And it's very important that we don't get in so deep inside of a theology or a religion that we don't see the sacred science behind this story. Shu and Tefnut give birth to Nut and to Geb. Nut is female. Nut is the sky. Geb is male and Geb is the earth. So their perception of life did not come from a mother earth. It came from a father earth and a mother sky, because that is where light and heat energy comes from, that comes down to our planet and creates the organic life. And then Nut and Geb give birth to Asar, Aset, Nebetet, Seton. Asar is the original father. Aset is determination and the original mother. Nebetet is the oracle reader, the one that can see things that others cannot see. And Seton are the forces that destroy. Seton, where we get the word Satan from, is not a bad thing. It's just what exists as a destroyer. And we know in life that sometimes in order to construct, you must destruct. So there is a time for the destroyer, but the destroyer must come at a time when he is needed. Now Asar and Aset give birth to Heru, who is the resurrection and the light. So the Shabaka stone takes us through a dynamic process of coming into being that is called Kepra, represented by the dung beetle. And the dung beetle represents this process of coming. And this story then leads to an understanding of the science of what we're talking about. The Sphinx was the face of a black woman. The Sphinx is not a man. It's the face of a woman and the body of a lioness, because they believe that the year that it was born, created 10,000 years ago, before the pyramids. In fact, the pyramids were built there to complement the Sphinx that had been there for generations, if not millennia. It was built during the cusp of the constellations of Leo and Virgo. So Virgo was the woman's head, and Leo was the body of the lion or the lioness. And so we know that the pyramids were astronomically inclined. We know that one of the functions was to trace the constellations. We know that the 3 pyramids that exist right now actually are in direct relationship to the 3 stars in Orion's belt. They perfectly match up. So we know that it was done for astronomical reasons. We know that every entrance to those 3 pyramids, Khufu, Khafra, Menkaure, father, son, grandson, are all on the north side of the pyramid. And when you go into the gallery that look up, if you had a telescope, all 3 of those northern entrances aimed directly at the North Star, which became the way in which they could track the constellations in the heavens. Now, Count Volta is going to study science, which tells us that we have a great amount of information that says that the Kemites had the ability to create electricity, and that in fact the ankh that you see in the hands of many of the pictographs of many of the netchers actually was a lamp. Now, what is the evidence of this? It's written, African Origins of Electromagnetism. Nur Anka Men goes through a wonderful exploration of the science of our ancestors. We understand this and we know this. So with this information, when you look at what Volta is going to come back, and what does he get credit for? He gets credit for creating the battery.
Damani?
All right. All right, I'm trying to hit my slides, sort of trying to wait for it to pop up.
Yeah, we could see them.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna skip this one. He just went over, Dr. Copper just went over this. I just read the bottom. Now let me read the whole thing. For a clear understanding of ancient Kush Kemite wisdom, we must think and analyze like them, reimagine the world in which they lived. This is African philosophy, science, and spirituality. This comes out of Dr. Cobb's book, Spirituality Before Religion. He says, like the 2 hemispheres of the brain, African philosophy, this is important, African philosophy blends and combines science with spirituality. There is no way to separate the 2 concepts. Science deals with matter, finite, and light, things that can be observed, seen, measured, quantified. Spirituality expresses space, infinity, and darkness, things that cannot be seen, measured, metaphysics, beyond the physical. Spirituality is unseen science, and science is seen spirituality. So we're dealing with spirit science. Okay, next one. Okay, before I go forward, this is a quote by Dr. Kaba. If you're scientifically inclined, like our ancestors in Kush Kemet was, you must read, you will and must read through the metaphor into the scientific principles that this metaphor, this allegory, this analogy, this story is masking. So it is completely scientific. Don't take this stuff literally. Don't take things literally. Okay, we're going. Okay, right now we have a tomb. Right here you see a tomb Khepra. Every day the sun rises, it seems it rises from the abyss, seems it rises from the noon. And so that's a tomb Khepra. That's known as the 3 phases of the moon. At the beginning of every day, I'm going to go into a daily reenactment. At the beginning of every day, we have a tomb Khepra. We have the morning sun coming into being. At high noon, we have Ra, the blazing sun, strong. And at the end of the day, we have Atum, 3 phases of the sun. And so Atum is similar to when we are sleeping in our beds. Our potential energy is rest. I'm gonna show this in one of the slides later on. But our potential energy is rest. When we wake up, we are kinetic energy. We are energy in motion. And so this is a daily enactment. So we're coming from energy in motion, from energy at rest to energy in motion. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Reenactment of a cosmic battle in daily life. Okay, what I just showed was a Kepler coming into being. Egyptians, reenactment in daily life. Egyptians believe that this, when you see the word Egyptian, just use, change it for the word Kemet. Kemet. A lot of the stuff I pasted from, I did screenshots from a lot of stuff I was Googling with stuff I was Googling. Anyway, Egyptians believed that this cosmic battle continued daily. The sun rose daily from the waters of Nun, reenacting the initial act of creation. Similar, the annual flooding of the Nile was viewed as controlled, seasonal return of Nun's water, providing the fertile mud like Ben. I'll explain that later, through the proper function of the cosmic order. Without Ma'at, it is believed that the Nun would destroy the world and return it to silence, darkness, and formless chaotic ocean. At the bottom, I got purification and rebirth. In the afterlife, returning to the waters of Nun was not merely death, but a return to raw potentiality from which the soul was reborn through Ma'at into a purified state. Let me go into the next one. Okay, right here, this is a drawing I did from Dr. Kaba's YouTube video. It's showing the roaring waterways of Nun. Dr. Gabriel, like I mentioned earlier, was 3 times nominated for a Nobel Prize nominee in mathematics and physics. The roaring waterways of Nun, Menphite theology form the basis of quantum theory and mechanics, are branches of science that describes the behavior of matter, energy, and light at the smallest scale, subatomic scale. And now, real fast, these waves here, and Dr. Kaba explained, I forgot to put it in here, on the Medu Netur, the water stands for the letter N. That's how you know it's the waterways of Nun. Oh, these atoms shooting out of the warring waterways of Nun. He said this is like hydrogen plasma, right? Now, plasma, I stated earlier, is the 4th state of matter. 99% of our universe, say 99.9% of the universe, is made of plasma. Plasma is positive eons, right? The sun in the sky, the SUN in the sky, is I just found this out a couple weeks ago, is a rotating ball of hot plasma. The sun in the sky is a rotating ball of hot plasma. And plasma is made of 71 to 76% hydrogen atoms. And the other 20% is made of helium. And then you have carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen, and some more of the other elements. But in this image here, he's showing a tomb is separating itself from Ptah. Let me back up. This is the first Trinity. This represents the Nun, Ptah, Atum. They was all one. Ptah is potential energy, turbulence. Last week, I showed a video that Dr. Kaba was showing how Ptah, the Benbin mountain, rises out of the waters of Ptah, Septepi, the first time. I'll go over that in a minute. And Atum separates itself from Ptah, and he names the 4 uncreated creations, Nun and Nunet, matter and space, Hu and Huket, infinity, Ku and Kuket, I got them wrong, Ku and Kuket, which is darkness and light, and And he also named the other creation the Amen and Amenet, the hidden and the revealed. And so, and like I said, remember everywhere that word atom is credited to Demetrius, the Greek scholar Demetrius. But if you Google Demetrius, he studied under Egyptian priests during the Ptolemaic dynasty. He studied under Egyptian priests, studied mathematics, science, spirituality, and he changed that word atum to atom. And he got, that's a stolen legacy. The stolen legacy is all about the theft, the intellectual theft of the Greeks. Anyway, I'm gonna go on. Like I just explained, turbulence is potential energy and kinetic energy. Energy at rest to energy. Kinetic energy is energy in motion. Remember, plasma is the fourth state of matter. The stars, the sun, the nucleus, the whole universe is full of plasma. In our bodies, we have plasma carries our blood cells, red blood cells and white blood cells. Plasma run through our bloodstream. Anyway, I'm moving on. I think this one I'm supposed to read. Let me read the right side first. Emergence from chaos. Ma'at came into existence at the moment of creation, when the sun god Ra or Atum rose from the chaotic waters of Nun, and the primordial hillock Ben appeared. What he talking about here is Ben is a mount. If you see pictures of Ptah, just like at the Oscars, they give the Oscars to somebody at the Oscar award. You see a statue and a man, and the statue is on a little a rock. It's on the square. That represents the Ben in Primordial Hill. She is often described as the daughter of Ra, established to control the turbulence of primordial water abyss. Right? In ancient Egyptian mythology, the correlation between Ma'at, order, balance, and truth, and the roaring waterways of Nun, primordial chaos, is one of fundamental symbiotic opposition. Ma'at is the necessary cosmic order that emerged from the chaotic, turbulent waters of Nun. These waters also, we see turbulent waters. We're talking about turbulent energy. We're talking about unorganized energy. Right? You see, when children run around at a young age, they're unorganized energy. You got to watch the children. They'll run everywhere. All right? That's an example of unorganized energy. Number 47, unorganized energy, right? The president, unorganized energy. Where she must continually manage to prevent the universe from reverting to its original formless state. Moving right along. This picture here is Kepra. On the right side is the top of our skull, Tum Kepra coming into being. On the top of our skull, this is a human skull, and this is scarab beetle. You see the semblance between the top of our skull and the scarab beetle. Egyptians intricately wove their beliefs into their understanding of the natural world, merging the sacred with the anatomical. It's a thrilling glimpse into the ancient civilization that saw life and death as intimately linked, where every detail had meaning beyond the surface. And so I imagine this, when we wake up, when we are sleeping, we are energy at rest. When we wake up, it's almost like the conscious mind separates from the subconscious mind. And we start planning our day. We're coming into being. We'll start, some of us got to get ready for work. Some of us are looking at our thing to do list. We're planning our day, right? That's coming into being. So that's my idea I get from that. Tumra Kepler process of coming into being. Let me see which side to read first. Let me go order versus turbulence. None represents an inert, yet turbulent, dark, and boundless waters of chaos that existed before time. Ma'at is the counterforce to this chaos, establishing more cosmic and physical law to prevent the roaring waves from overwhelming the ordered world. On the right side, primordial sea as unified. The waters of Nun are sometimes compared to the quantum field, dark matter, dark energy. So you can say roaring waterways of Nun or the dark energy that permits the entire cosmos, often termed cosmic sea of energy. Creation as symmetry breaking. In physics, as the universe cooled, the unified force broke into separate forces. Symmetry breaking. In Egyptian myth, I'm going to use the word Kemetic myth, Atum Ra separates from the inert chaos of Nun, initiating, I can't see it, man. Initiating a differentiated ordered world. Anyway, moving right along. Zeptibi. This was Zeptibi the first time commenced. I'm going to read the right side only. The roaring waterways of Nun, referring to the primordial waters of Nun, and Zeptepi the first time, are fundamentally correlated in the Kemetic mythology, represent the chaotic state of non-existence and subsequent emergence of ordered creation. Nun is the endless, turbulent, dark, and primordial watery abyss, while Zep-Tepi is the initial moment or first occasion when land, the Ben Beam, that hill, that mount, the Ben Beam Mount emerged from the waters to begin creation. Let me go back. Trying to move my screen up here. Oh shoot, I did it again. Anyway, this is Nun and the unified field theory. I'm just going to read the bottom part. Fundamental oneness. Similar to Nun, the GUT, Grand Unified Theory, suggests that at the beginning of the universe, high energy forces were not. Something is blocking my screen here. Can somebody read the forces were not?
They were not different. Oh, sorry, brother.
Yeah, can you read the rest of it? Forces were not differentiated,
but acted as a single force.
All right, thank you.
I lost the bottom too.
Okay. This is correlations between the water. I Googled some of this stuff. You can Google, but it's saying the same thing that Dr. Cobb is saying. You can Google this stuff, like the correlation between the waters of Nun. Anyway, the correlation between the waters of Nun, ancient Kemetic cosmology, and the unified field theory, modern physics, lies in their shared conceptualization of a fundamental, formless, and boundless substrate from which all existence, matter, and forces emerge. While Nun represents the primordial chaos or watery abyss of pre-creation, unified field theory seeks to identify a single coherent field that unites gravity with other fundamental forces. I'm going to go on to the next one. And this is where Dr. Yibo broke down the word chemistry and showed this last time. A YouTube video of him last time breaking this down. But it's two words. Chem is the black land, and mystery is the mystery of the ancient Africans. Mystery of the ancient Africans. Mystery of the black people. The mystery refers to how and what they knew about the atom. And the Muslims called it alchemy by the Muslim Moors. Chemistry referred to as the black art of magic, mysterious science of changing matter. Dr. Gabriel Yubo shows in the Grand Unified Theory that evaded Einstein and Newton. There's only one element in the periodic table of elements, the hydrogen atom. Anyway, I already went through that. I'm going to go on. Okay, the Philosopher's Stone. Now, the Philosopher's Stone is a legendary mythical substance sought by chemists. Let me back up. The Philosopher's Stone, here talking about the Egyptians said was known to turn base metal into gold, right? And so the Greeks and the Romans spent hundreds of years trying to figure out how in the world they turned base metal into gold. Remember I told you it was a metaphor. Gold is a metaphor for immortality. Gold do not varnish or turn colors. You can bury gold in the ground for 10,000 years and dig it up, and it still look the same. That's because of the strong force field. And so gold was a metaphor for immortality. But the childish Greeks was thinking about how to get rich. But anyway, but they was able to. So philosopher's stone is a legendary mythical substance sought by medieval alchemists believed to possess the power to transmute base metals into gold and create an elixir for life, which grants immortality. I believe this philosopher's stone is the Shabaka stone, sitting in the British Museum. Real fast, in the British Museum, they have over 100,000 artifacts from ancient Kemet. 100,000. In the Petrie Museum, they have another 80,000 artifacts from ancient Kemet. And three of the most famous artifacts in the British Museum. British got a whole department of Egyptian art, Egyptian science, whole department. You can Google it. And the most famous artifact is the Rosetta Stone, which was deciphered by Jean Chapelon in 1822, which paved the way for European interpretation of African history and culture. The other one is the Ryan mathematical papyrus. German guy Ryan put his name on a papyrus. But anyway, their knowledge was not simply about changing lead into gold. It was about balancing the elements within and without, aligning the human being with the cosmos. This was Kemetic science, a spiritual, material, and ethical discipline rooted in Black identity and ancestral wisdom. It's time we claim this legacy, not merely as a historical curiosity, but as a testament to the intellect and spiritual genius of one of Africa's first great civilizations. Moving right along. Okay, I already explained this. It's the fields of chemistry, biology, psychology, sociology, and history, how they all tied together. It's all of them studying the atom. That atom also is, the sun is a fire atom. You know, you got fire, earth, wind, water, air, earth, wind, fire. Well, the sun is a fire atom. That's why they called it atom. When the Greeks and Roman, what time we got? Oh man. When the Greeks and Romans invaded Kemet, they brought along 100 scientists. The invasion was primarily a scientific conquest to study every aspect of Kemetic culture. They not only brought architecture, but also absorbed its esoteric and scientific knowledge, preserved it in stolen scrolls, books, and artifacts and centers of learning in Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba. From there, it would re-enter Europe during the Crusades and Moorish rule in Spain. They adopted this knowledge under the banner of alchemy, a name that carried the echo of Kemet. European alchemists was also drawn to a spiritual and magical dimensions of Kemetic wisdom. Are there any questions? Anybody got anything they want to say or questions?
Brother Sebastian.
You know, that book by Dr. Gabriel Oyibo.
Yes.
I won't say it's a hard book to find, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's almost like they priced it so that we wouldn't get it, so that we won't tap into, you know, our ancient knowledge. I've seen some for $600, as much as $2,400 for that book.
Wow.
Wow, I ain't know that much.
That's
Well, Kaba said, remember that he got one at a discount and just went on and grabbed two
Yeah,
at that time. So, you know,
$25
right? No, and that
in
was
the
some
90s.
time back. So
in the early 90s, right?
yeah, so it's you ever come across it, grab it
Yeah.
at a worthwhile price. But yeah, this is very interesting, Damani. Very, very interesting.
the name. I'm sorry. What's the name of the book again?
It was called the what was it? The Grand Unified Theorem.
Hmm.
And his name is Dr. Gabriel Oyibo.
Oyibo. OyIbo.
Correct.
And when was it written?
I'm not sure. It's early 90s.
Oh, okay. Early 90s. But it's not an ancient book.
Yeah,
No.
no, back in the 90s.
I think they have some other variations of the book, but I don't think that he will be the one that's the author of it. So
Mhm.
Okay, let me read through some of these. As the Greeks and Romans continued, the esoteric stream would inspire secret societies, mystic orders, and occult movements across Europe, from the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. These groups claimed a symbolic lineage from Kemet, venerating Tahuti, a name also called Tahuti, or Hermes, renaming them Thoth, whom the Greeks called Hermes Trismegistus, meaning thrice great, as the originator of sacred knowledge. The art of chem became chemistry. Kemet becomes Egypt, obscuring the true identity of its creators, the black people of Kemet. Let me see how much more I got. Are these some of the sacred sciences? Let me see. Okay, these sacred sciences, some of these Greeks and secret societies of study, the sacred sciences of ancient Kemet were a holistic system that integrated spiritual, philosophical, and empirical knowledge, aiming to understand the cosmos and maintain Ma'at, universal order, balance, and truth. These disciplines was largely developed and maintained by specialized priesthood, who viewed science and mysticism as inseparable. Mysticism, you can use the word occultism. Occultism is hidden knowledge. And some of the sacred sciences, astronomy and astrology, with the Kemetic priest study of celestial bodies to align temples and pyramids, mathematical and sacred geometry, engineering, surveying, unlocking the inherent harmony of the universe, medicine and anatomy, study and the use of herbal remedies, surgical techniques, sound heka to treat body and soul. Yes. Some more of the sacred science was alchemy, divine science dealing with transmutation of materials and elements and the transmutation of the soul. Symbolism and hieroglyphics. Manu Netur hieroglyphics was not merely a writing system, but held profound symbolic esoteric meaning for initiates, encoding spiritual concepts and cosmological stories. Yeah, study. And the last one is cosmogony and philosophy. It dealt with understanding the netters, principles of nature. Studying Dr. Cobb, he went over the netters. The netters, they really stood for principles of nature, studying the relationship between humans, nature, and the universe. I think that's yeah, Bill, can you show that last video and I'd be finished?
Sure.
And as they pull that
Last
up,
video is about 9 minutes.
as that's pulled up, Brother Damani, there's just a comment in the chat that says, "This is so powerful and much needed, Baba Damani. You are a great presenter, giving a great presentation." That's from Greg and Maria Cartwright from Northern Cal.
All right, thank you.
All right.
What I gotta do? Stop sharing, Bill?
Go.
Did I stop sharing?
Please, Professor Carver, come on in here.
I just want to go back, looking at what Dr. Oyibo is showing us. Historically speaking, it's important for us to go back and realize that the religions that we're experiencing today, let's take the main ones. Let's look at Christianity in particular, for instance, and we can even look at Judaism and the later Islam. When the Greeks were copying the works that they learned from the Africans in Kemet, they went to Byblos to purchase the paper from the Phoenicians, who at this time, Byblos is the capital and the country of Phoenicia. Phoenicia is geographically where we today call Lebanon. Byblos was the capital of Phoenicia, where paper was traded. When the Greeks were copying the works of the Africans, they purchased the paper from Byblos. The name of the book that they copied from the Africans came down to us as the Bible. They changed the Y to I and became Bible or Byblos. So that it's important to understand that I have no problem with any of the holy books. I have a problem with the corrupt interpretations of the books. So that when you're talking about in the beginning was the Word, you're talking about the Shabaka stone. When you're talking about the waters, you're talking about Nun. When you're talking about the face of God was on the surface of the water, you're talking about Ptah. So that what becomes important is that Genesis is a contaminated version of the first philosophy of the Shabaka stone.
Yes. Wow.
And it becomes important when you talk about the truth coming out. I know there are folk who are very much attached to these books.
Yes.
My thing is, I don't have a problem with your attachment to the book. I don't have a problem, as Dr. Yibo is talking about, what is real and what is true. The problem is Eurasians in their childish mentality made a mythological analogy of creation into a literal interpretation of actual historic acts, which in itself, if you look at it metaphorically, it's a beautiful story, but if you look at it literally, you're not going to find the characters in the story ever existed. But if you can get to the story, it's a wonderful story. But my problem is in the interpretation. And what we're missing out as is we have let the child's story become an adult reality.
Wow.
And this is what we're facing as a people. And if we don't check ourselves, we are going to wreck ourselves intellectually and spiritually. Because we are living in a world right now at war. And we are at war over the Word of God. That's very dangerous to me. If you're Jewish, you're fighting Muslim. If you're Christian, you're fighting Muslim. If you're Muslim, you're fighting Jews and Christians. Christians can't handle Jews. Jews don't like Christians. And black folk created it all, and we're letting the children run the story. In other words, the patients are in charge of the insane asylum right now.
Wow, I love it. Yes.
And what we have to do is we have to get control over our minds. And what we have got to do is understand that there is something known as biogeometry. And you can Google biogeometry coming up out of the temples of Kemet, out of the temples of Congo and Southern Africa, the Monomotapin, where we constructed buildings and temples that vibrated when we sang what the Christian church calls the Gregorian chant. This was an African chant system that vibrated off of the walls of the temples that brought everyone into. That's what doo-wop was based on.
Right. That's
harmony under the lights of the playground.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about, frequency. Balance. That's what we gave to the world. That's why we felt what we felt when we felt it, because it brought to us a harmonization of our liquid systems in our bodies.
Right.
And what we have got to do is look at this information. And what I'd like to do now, and I know that our time is coming very close, but I think it's important, because what I want to do is I'd like to look at Gagut theorem, the Gij, comma J equals 0. And while we're looking at these siphons, these symbols, I am not saying this is what Gagut means. I am saying that through the interpretation of the Shabaka stone, and in view of what Gagut offers us as a symbolic revolution, I would like to give attributes and characteristics to the Gij, comma J equals 0.
John, can you put the Gagut formula back up for us?
Well, we would, but we hadn't finished the third point, which
No, can you switch? You can. Okay.
Just
We're gonna get back to this document, but put that up so we can deal with that.
switch. Can you see it?
Not yet.
That's what I was afraid. I have to get out of the screen.
Yeah, try that. Let's see.
Okay, just 1 second.
Listen, why don't you?
No, just 1 second. I'm going to get it.
Because you can do your third point, because I don't want to interrupt that. It's just that I wanted to say that.
Okay,
So,
Professor Kaba, here is the formula. Go through that, then we'll go back and allow Professor
because I know
Yibo
an
to finish
interruption
his
of
third
thought
piece.
would take us away.
No, that's fine. Go ahead, brother.
The G, the capital G, according to the Shabaka stone in my interpretation, is the Nun. It is the creator and the collective unconscious, the ancestral line, who is the cosmic temple of eternal life. The I is the process of the search through physical life, first through evolution, and then through involution, searching for the God quality in humans to come to the conclusion that each and every one of us is a reflection of God having a human experience. The J is the Jed column, the backbone of Osiris, courage, to think, speak, and do Ma'at. Ma'at is truth, justice, reciprocity, balance, integrity, harmony, and honor. But most importantly, it is Mer, the Kemetic or Egyptian form of love at its most unspeakable level. The comma represents the pause, to reflect Tehuti, which is thought. As you reflect on being on the path of Ma'at, which is the biogeometry of the cosmic harmony of the cosmic universe. Equal is the equal sign, the balance, the crossing over through the 12 hours of the duat, the judgment of the heart, to see if in fact it has met its qualifications to go to the 0, which is Amenta. Amenta is what our ancestors called the heavens. The return to the G. The G is the more perfect level of the Nun. And all of this happens in order for it to happen again. These are what these letters represent. We need to give the letters representations from an African perspective. And as I studied Dr. Yibo's work and I was vibrating on the Shabaka stone, these were the things that I was coming in contact with to understand how we could give this to our people, for them to understand. The ones that did not get out of 2nd grade mathematics, the ones that don't even know what a G is, or an I is, or how you place a comma in a sentence. Our people who have never maybe gone to 1 day of formal school, they are living Gagut, but they may not know it because they were rudely interrupted with a ma'afa, a terroristic disaster that would take down Sandra Bland.
Oh, Damani?
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Somebody was trying to unmute. I don't know who it was. Somebody trying to unmute. You have any idea how they can unmute themselves, Bill?
They may be having some trouble with their microphone. The microphone itself may not be working. They may click on unmute. If Zoom indicates they're unmuted, and they still can't be heard, it's probably because their microphone may have some
Oh, okay.
hardware problem.
Right. Okay, it's open for questions and comments and whatever y'all got. That's enough out of me.
Wonderful presentation, Brother Damani.
Oh, thank you.
Other questions or comments for Brother Damani?
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you,
In
Mama
ancient
Grace.
Kemetic society, the whole purpose of the society was to seek the divine. And wisdom was inseparable from Ma'at. I just like to say that. If you had knowledge and wisdom, you had to have Ma'at first. It was inseparable. And so today's society, we got it all backwards. People got knowledge and wisdom and chemistry and making bombs and have no, well, you know, no morals, no ethics, values. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mama Keisha.
I have a question about the application of what you have been teaching. It's enlightening. It certainly makes all of us feel a little stronger and a little taller because of what you've presented to us. How can we, Wose, get this information to our people? I noticed there are 18 participants. Last week, I think there were about 20. How do we get our membership to understand even a fraction of what you just taught? And I know I don't want to put all the responsibility on you, but so maybe somebody else can also join in. But I to me, it seems important that what we learned continues in what we teach and believe in Wose.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's an excellent question. And that's the reason I got excited about this, because how to grow our organization, Wose Community Church. And I think Dr. Hillett said something that it was through science that that we became spiritual. We had it backwards. It wasn't through the study of philosophy. It was through the study of science, seeing nature every day, seeing the blooming of the trees. I parked my car under the tree. Sorry, there was no leaves on this tree. And one day later, I come back out, and the tree is full of leaves. And I was just amazed.
Yeah, they're all waking up.
Yeah. Saturday was start of spring equinox, and the next day the tree was full of leaves, and my car had shade. I parked out there. Another thing, you know, I follow 19 Keys. 19 Keys, Dr. B. Serious, Billy Carson with his network, Billy Carson, what in the world is his anyway, Billy Carson, and there's others, and they're talking about science. The young people are interested in science. The young people are interested in the occult wisdom. Occult wisdom is that hidden wisdom. And 19 Keys is every time he put out a YouTube video, him and Billy Carson, he runs Forbidden Knowledge. Every time they put out a YouTube video, they getting tens of thousands of hits. One the YouTube video that Billy Carson and 19 Keys did got 5 million views. And so these young people are very interested in science.
I would like to speak to that. I don't know who asked the question, but it sent me running to my books, because I remember in Christianity Before Christ, that's John G. Jackson, is that right?
Right.
And he said there was a time before we were mesmerized with this new understanding of God, that the information that the ancestors knew, the ancients, everybody understood it. Not just what was said, but you understood the people walking around. And this is what Aiku says too. They understood the basics of how the information and how the knowledge worked, but they decided, probably after they were conquered, to mystify it And then so the actual information became spiritual, and then the people would just follow it, and you just would believe what you were told. I could help with that. I could break down the basics and help one understand the chemistry and the biology because I understand it. Now, there may be others in here who understand it. That is how protons, neutrons, and electrons work. And that basic understanding, because I think we have to go back to the time of learning. We have to go back and learn what our ancestors knew and not just believe through somebody's interpretation what they're saying. And there's a lot of people interpreting, and then they want to become like the, and I think this is problematic for us, like the Messiah, or we follow them because they know, when everybody should have this understanding. It should become common knowledge for everybody. That's what I would add.
Yes, this right here is a periodic table of elements. And I was, from studying this work, I got into studying the periodic table of elements. And for example, I was just going around the house and trying to figure out, what is this made of? What is this made of? And, a doorknob, something simple as a doorknob, you got a brass doorknob. Well, it's no element called brass. And so brass is a combination of number 29 and 30. Zinc, copper is number 29 on the periodic table of elements, and zinc is number 30. And that's what brass is made up of. Then you go to stainless steel, real fast. Stainless steel. Stainless steel, there's no element called stainless steel. But stainless steel is made up of iron, which is number 26 on the periodic table of elements, carbon number 6, chromium number 4. I think this way we could, you get people interested in, because we have to study what's around us. Because in the periodic table of elements, if you heard number 47 a couple weeks ago, they're looking for, what you call it, it's 17 minerals that's, oh man, I can't think of it right now. But I can't think of the word, but the 17 minerals that's
essential.
No, not essential minerals. It might be something like that, but anyway, 17 minerals they're using in high levels of science, and these people know the periodic table of elements, and we're getting into drone technology, and we're getting into all this technology, and yeah, we need to know the periodic table element. We can make up games for our kids and young people to learn the periodic table of elements, so we can learn to make elements and substances. Everything around us is full of elements and compounds. And break it down one more time. We are made of atom. We are made up 100% of atoms. Atoms create cells, and Liz, you know this, you biology. Atoms create cells. Cells create molecules, or might be the other way around. But anyway, and then cells create molecules. Molecules create tissues. Tissues create organelles, or organelles create organ systems. So the human body is completely made of atoms. And so really we are atom in the flesh. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough out of me.
Brother Damani?
Yes.
When Sister Keisha was talking about how do we get the word out, each time we have like these Wednesday nights or Thursday nights, there's always people that are hearing about this book or that book for the first time. But I can recall about 30 years ago, we had a list of books that Wose was handing out. That might be a start. We had a list of books for people that might not understand one particular, like coming here tonight and hearing what you were talking about. We had a list of books that the church was recommending that people. So that might be one way. When she was saying, how do we get the word out, is maybe to come back again. I haven't seen that list in a long time, but we did have a list of books.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Reading books, just all the people that we mentioned tonight, and those beyond. We had a list. You remember that when we were over on 34th Street? We had a
Oh,
reading
yeah,
list.
there's a whole list of scholars, right? We had all their books.
And like everything else, there's times where you just have to renew the list to make sure that it's available to people.
I think understanding understanding the waters of none is very important too, because everything existed in the none, all matter. We're the only creation story who can explain how everything come into existence. So we can have pride in that. Our creation story can, the noon, everything existed in the none. In the noon, all matter. And there's 4 stages of matter. I ain't gonna go through them again, but just knowing that inspired me to realize that our creation story, and that's why that stone is in the British Museum. All the European scientific community, they studied that stone. They know what's in all those papyrus. They keep digging in Egypt. They've been digging in Egypt for 200 years. They're looking for Imhotep's tomb. You got 10 volumes of Imhotep, the sage Imhotep, 10 volumes of his work in medical science and what is it, Lumberg, one of those universities over there in Germany, got 10 volumes of Imhotep's work. And yeah, and just realize, I think stolen legacy is so important because it's telling the scope of this intellectual theft. And we got to, I think we got to get our people to understand the scope of this intellectual theft. And we got to reclaim it.
And I think that in part of it, in answer to Mama Keisha's question, and in addition to the comments made now and by Sister Najib, one of the first places I go, because this question has come up, I've heard this question come up often in our Black Knowledge Matters sessions. I've had that question myself, and I think what it leads me to in this moment, maybe in a way that it hasn't, is in my responsibility individually to take the next steps here. We have now at WOSE the blending in progress of the blending of the Community Development and Training Commission. So looking at community development, looking at building the community, but also looking at what the training really looks like for us internal in WOSE and what it looks like for the community. To take this now and to put it into, move it from the question to start using those commissions to come up with concrete answers and put those concrete answers into concrete plans. There's a wealth of information, knowledge, wisdom with the individuals on this screen, but also with everyone else who's part of WOSE, Sacramento, and Oakland. And so part of the answer to that question, Mama Keisha, that I want to say is that I am committing to taking those next steps personally in moving from the question to move towards concrete answers. I know that this is going to be it's a process to do that, but the process must start with concrete work and that commission. And so even though we got a couple of minutes left, I welcome anyone to join us in that Community Development and Training Commission to begin to join us, and we will start to get the word out. When we meet again at the elders meeting, I will speak with the elders to get guidance and to get input on how we take these next steps. And I'm talking about this next month, that we're starting to make concrete steps to begin to answer that question. Because what Brother Damani has done for us once again is presented knowledge that is so clear that not only we need to know, but the community needs to know, the world needs to know it to make progress, not just for us and our community, but I think for the human community. Getting the truth behind this is going to move all human beings forward and all human societies forward. And so that's my commitment. I appreciate your question again, Mama Keisha.
Yes.
And that's my commitment moving forward.
Hey, can we go? I didn't mean to talk so long. Can we go extra 5 minutes? Anybody else got comments or questions?
Good morning.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. That's my sister
Okay.
Yvonne.
I
I
was
heard
gonna.
you.
Is the Shabaka stone in a museum in Great Britain, somewhere, England,
Yeah,
United Kingdom?
in Britain,
Uh-huh.
in the British
Okay.
Museum.
Okay, so they have that one and the Rosetta Stone, and you mentioned a third stone.
They had the Orion Mathematical Papyrus.
Okay. And another thing, I don't know if you or one of the other gentlemen mentioned about religion. There's, I guess in ancient religion, there was a man and a woman, because that's the force that brings forth life. And I know when I was studying Hinduism, there was a man and a woman, Krishna and Radha. And from that point on, I started praying to Mother, Father, God, because I like the concept of a woman also having a lead role. So I was glad to hear that in the African tradition. So thank you very much. A little deep, but I'm getting there.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
That's my sister, y'all. She gave me a book in 1986. She gave me the Broader Files in 1986. So this is all her fault.
Oh,
She gave me the
it was
Broader
good.
Files, and I became an avid reader.
That's great.
Bless. And let me ask, and I'll go to Mama Fanya. Is there, are the Women of Wose meeting tonight? Oh, perfect. So we can go just a few more minutes, and let me hand it over to Mama.
I was just going to say that with trying to get, not trying, but working on getting this information and other information from our community out into the broader community, there might be a little more interest in it, with all of the, Black history being taken out of schools and the whole, erasing Black history, et cetera. So there might be a little more interest from, the outside community to learn about, some of this information. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, you're right.
I think that some of it is we have to plug into the youth. And once they catch it, that interest, you meet them where they're at. And everything now, we're talking about books. Books are great, but we're of the generation of books. They're of the generation of social media, clips. So you've got to meet them in the arena that they are in. It will take the book knowledge to be able to present it in those mediums to reach them. So it's going to start with the book, but we got to we got to build that bridge to them to bring them back over to the actual book.
All right, I like that. Build that bridge.
I'll share with you all something about the 3 states of matter.
Yes, absolutely, Sister.
So, and if you all are already aware of this, I apologize, but I think it's important to understand. When we're talking about the periodic table, we're talking about matter, and matter is the solid stuff that's here on the planet. Initially, there was, if you just think about what was here before everything else, there would have been the stuff, that's the matter, and then the energy coming from the sun, and that created out everything that we see, right? So the 3 states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. How do we get solid? Solid is a state where matter has less energy. You take the energy out, the matter freezes in place, it's locked, and we call it a solid. And all of that matter can go from solid to liquid. Now, how do we go from solid to liquid? What must be added to the matter?
Heat.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say heat.
Energy, right? That's energy.
Okay, heat
exactly.
Energy, right.
We add energy to the matter, and it goes from the solid state to the liquid state. That's all matter. All matter goes through these 3 states, right? So when you add energy, then now the matter can flow. We call liquids as matter that can flow. It can move. It's not locked in place. So you can take gold, add energy to it, and now it flows. And now we can mold it. The final state, to go from liquid to gas, what must be added?
Energy.
Class, that's a question. Energy again. So you add more energy. It's all about energy and matter. You add more energy, and this matter that was liquid now goes into the gaseous state, which means it's in the atmosphere, just like water, right? Depending on temperature. So understanding that, and I think if our people had a better understanding of the principles that are enacted on our planet, they would have better understanding of themselves. And I'm out. And those, of course, those three states can be reversed. You take the energy out, and it goes from the gaseous state to water to liquid. Take more energy out, it goes back to solid. And every state of matter has a different temperature at which it changes. I'm out.
All right, thank you.
That makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes, because the same fools that created these bombs, they know all about that.
Yes, yes.
Taking me back to high school biology or chemistry, one of them classes.
And that's who I taught it to children, to our children. Yeah.
And so with that, I would request that everyone comes off mute if they can and give recognition to Brother Damani once again for a powerful presentation.
Yes, indeed. Baba Damani, great presentation.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. We all learned a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Hey, Baba
Thank
Damani, thank you for inviting me in. I had a hard time with I forgot I had to turn on my app because of my new phone with device. I couldn't speak. But you also had me laughing the way you shared about the Big Bang Theory. Because the other day I saw two cars get into a car accident. I didn't see any life come up out of that. So that dispels that myth, that these people tell you. They tell you any damn thing. The Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, they tell you any damn thing. And they got it and then they put it up in these institutions, call it education. And it's just the sickest thing in the world. So man, you look here, this is the blueprint for living a quality life and an abundant life here. Our ancestors knew what they were doing. And thank you, Baba, for leading the way. Great platform, great presentation. I love it. And, when it started out, it was Atum, Ptah, Noon. The Holy Trinity is like you said, but it's so above, so below. When our physical presence on this planet, we just went from Atum, Ptah, Noon to Asar, Set, and Heru. When the Greeks came in, they changed it to Osiris, Isis, and Horus. The Romans came in, changed it to Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. And then when the Roman Catholics came in, they changed it to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost cut the woman out. So now they got this whole new other generation. They reverting back to their nature. Now it's called the Father and the Son. And I encourage any pastor, any clergy, and to go into any church or whatever, and you walk in and you say the Father, the Mother, and the Son, they would throw you out. You better not mention a woman in a church. See, they went back to their original nature. The man and the little boy. That's why when you see Valentine's Day, they got the little naked man, with all the little boys with the wings around them, talking about Valentine's Day's love. So look here, this is so much needed to open our eyes to get out of this madness and this psychological gas chamber is man, Ashra Kwesi would say a psychological gas chamber. So look here, thank you, Baba Damani. You're so incredible. This is a great platform. I'm so excited. I can't wait to the next one and the next one and the next one. And I'm going to introduce other people as well, too. And so we can get them out of that psychological gas chamber.
All right. That's my brother from Richmond, African Greg, I call him.
That's right.
Well, you got a bunch of family. You got Yvonne who gave you the book. You got your twin brother, Harold, here. Come on, Harold, speak up.
Hey, me and Greg trying to bring me and Greg talking about we got to talk about bringing Ashwa Kwesi to town.
Yes. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. We will. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, great job, Harry. I just had some company that came into town, just getting them situated. But yeah, you did a great job bringing us to Shabaka Stone. I'd like to learn more about it, of course.
That's my twin brother, y'all. That's Harold.
I'm the good-looking one. Hey, but great job, Harry. I remember. I'm sorry, I call you Harry. I know he goes by Damani. But years ago, you used to make Black History notebooks. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And so it may be a good idea to put some of this in a notebook or
Exactly.
I don't know, some type of little book where you can offer it to young people in an easy, understandable way.
That's good.
Just an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
good idea. A notebook. Yeah, just a notebook
Great
with 100
idea.
pages of paper in it, and inside and outside cover. Outside, the back cover and the inside cover. You can write.
Absolutely.
Good idea.
There you go.
Asante, thank you all so much, everyone. I'm going to ask for someone to pray us. Oh, I'm sorry.
Charlotte?
Do we have someone?
No, I was listening to my brother in California. He was giving a presentation, but it ended it. So I can talk. Yeah, so let me
Oh,
just I'm gonna just cut this off.
I'm sorry, Miss Sister Yvonne. I think you're not a mute.
Oh, okay. Let me mute this, okay? Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. And with that said, could I ask one of our elders to pray us out, please?
Oh, Holy One, thank you. Thank you for that spirit, that brings us alive, brings us together, brings us forward. We know that spirit is strongest when we are together, when we are here, sharing the wisdom that you brought through our ancestors to strengthen all our people. We are so glad for strengthening Brother Damani, for bringing this message forward, for strengthening us all, bringing us forward in the way. Please continue to look over us, continue to keep us strong and guide us toward your light. Amen. Ashe.
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 Have a blessed week, everyone, and please invite at least 2 more people next week to Black Knowledge Matters.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Man, this is beautiful. This is great. I'm home now.
Y'all take care. Have a
Well, y'all
blessed
take care. Everybody have a good night.
Great presentation, Damani. Great presentation.
you.